the other region with the Pyke banned away from the EU teams, the Sona banned away from the NA teams. We're saying, no, stop picking it.
Are you trying to tell me Sona is a support?
I'm trying to tell you that Sona is unfortunately iconic for NA meta at the moment.
Are you trying to tell me that Karma's a support?
Well, I'm not going to say that. Karma was intended to be a support, but there's some top lane shenanigans going on right now. Karma's going to be banned away. Jarvan and TF also banned out.
I really like this Twisted Fate ban from TSM because it is sort of Nemesis's go-to champion, especially on the red side. You can pick that up as your third, ban away some tough matchups, and overall just gives so much pressure around the map.
Sejuani is left available, though, for a possible first pick here with a Trundle banned out. Now, you are very, very unlikely to give that trade over, so this means Fnatic does get the possible picks of things like the Aatrox, like the Aurelia. So in order to get this jungle matchup with Trundle already being down, they're going to sacrifice some possible solo lane power.
Yeah, with Bwipo in the game, you almost always expect to see him go for that Aatrox when it is up and ready. He loves that champion, but the duo, the Sivir plus yuumi, that Rekkles and Hylissang have used so many times to great effect, has to be the choice.
I'm actually kind of glad to see that Sona was banned away so that Sona plus random support champion doesn't get blasted in lane by Sivir yuumi this time around. We'll see how TSM decides to counter it there in the bottom lane, hovering over that Lux. We saw it play to great effect in the last game. Core JJ making those bindings look like a point and click. We'll see if TSM can make it happen here too as they get some more CC in the roster to go with that Sejuani, and Lucian will follow it up in the bottom lane.
Ooh, I really like this from TSM. I think one of the best answers into the yuumi is pick a strong 2v2 lane that can push her in, because yuumi underneath the tower can't really step forward to poke with the Q, whereas if she does have the lead in the lane, it becomes miserable to play against. So this look from TSM is a good one.
And Lucian into Sivir can definitely get aggressive super early on, so we'll see if this does affect the jungle routes, trying to control bottom Scuttle Crab, get deeper vision.
There's the Elise lock-in for the side of Fnatic. We talked about Broxah being a super scary jungler. We saw his stats back on day one, a comparison between him and some of the North American junglers, and how it doesn't matter if he's behind in gold and CS at 15 minutes. He invests so heavily in his team and gets his team ahead. That's what's scary when you've got this guy on a champ like Elise.
Yeah, and on this Elise, looking always towards the top lane for those early tower dives. Notice Aatrox and Aurelia, we mentioned, still left up here. Fnatic could look to first lock either of those two in if they are left available. So maybe TSM just want to leave both options up so that they can trade one for the other.
Exactly. You just say, all right, if we have two S-tier picks, we either have to waste both bans or we waste no bans and just decide to play the back and forth. But with the Aurelia banned away, Fnatic is now daring TSM, ban the Aatrox or we're going to take it. Let's see if they respond. Still got 10 seconds to think about it. Corki, Nico, Aurelia all banned away here in the second phase. What's it gonna be, TSM? 5 seconds left to choose. And the ban is... LeBlanc.
All right, they're gonna pick Aatrox.
Yeah, I would bet.
Yeah, and then the next step is, what is the TSM counter pick into Aatrox at the moment? I mean, you definitely need some sort of mobility up there.
We saw the Riven hovered earlier by Broken Blade. His namesake, his namesake.
Could also be a pick like the Renekton. We've seen go up against that a couple times here.
Careful, careful crowd. We can't get excited yet. Don't jinx it.
Hey, I mean, we saw Zed yesterday.
They literally hover this every single time because of Bjergsen's stream.
Yeah.
The Bjergsen Zed meme always comes through. Zven is one of the big memers. It's not going to be the Zed, but it will be the Azir, some scaling backline for TSM.
That will be the pick that Fnatic is saving their last pick in the draft to counter pick. So we'll wait a moment here to see what Fnatic ends up picking against that Azir in the mid lane for Nemesis going up against Bjergsen. But now the name of the game is still, what do you pick into Aatrox here for Broken Blade?
And there have been some recent tech changes to how people are playing Azir, looking for more AP burst damage early and saving the attack speed for later, so you can have a bigger early impact with things like Luden's Rush. Rather than going in the Nashor super early on. But there we go, the Camille top once again.
Yeah, and I think for Fnatic, ideally, hold the phone.
Okay.
That is an old school counter pick with the Veigar here. You look to just one-shot the Azir at level 6. Of course, Azir can't escape from that cage with the shuffle around, so can really set up for a pick with Elise.
We know Veigar can be such a pain if he's allowed to scale up. Remember, the champion not only gets passive AP from last hitting with the Q, but also any poke that you apply to your opponent will also generate those permanent AP stacks. The champion can scale up to the point of having 150, 200 free AP by the time you get into the late game just from that.
All that being said, the burst damage, not that crazy super early on in the game. He does need to stack a little bit of that AP up. So there are going to be some opportunities. I expect there to be a lot of top lane focus for TSM. Sejuani and Camille is one of the most insane 2v2s that you can possibly draft in the game. Camille easily able to close distance and stack up Sejuani passives.
Yeah, I think both sides are going to be looking top lane very early on. Then, of course, come level 6, mid lane becomes a whole lot juicier of an option, whether it's a Sejuani coming on in or the burst from the Veigar and the cage to set it up. They've definitely got some tools to work with.
And the one thing I'm really looking at here is a big difference between the two compositions just at a glance. TSM has a true tank, a big meatball in the Sejuani to build 5 tank items and a pair of shoes and sit there on the front line and soak that damage and regenerate it with a Warmogs. You do not have a similar champion on Fnatic. So that's what Fnatic will have to be mindful of. If Broxah falls behind on something like an Elise, you'll quickly be useless compared to that Sejuani.
Yeah, that being said, if Bwipo's Aatrox can do well early on, you have the power of the Yuumi to team up in that mid game, which makes the top lane matchup even more important for these two teams.
All right, let's see how everybody wants to start off here at the level 1. You can see some assist me pings in the mid lane there from Fnatic saying, hey, let's group up, let's do something. Bjergsen running around in a circle to get away from the prowling projectile. As a single auto attack from Rekkles will find its way into the Emperor of Shurima's health bar, but I don't really think that's anything to be too concerned about here. TSM just setting up the line of scrimmage, playing some good old American football here up against their opponents, making sure nobody walks past there into the jungle early on. Hilly will try to step up, fire off another prowling projectile. Just a straight line because, you know, he's not attached to anybody, so the projectile loses a lot of the fun elements of it there. But doesn't look like we're going to get anything crazy. No executes to the turret at level 1 this time around.
Yeah, the only big difference of course, that ward behind the red buff that he was able to get in. That's why he shot off the projectile, so he could safely walk into the brush, place that ward onto red buff, and be notified that Sejuani will be starting top side of the map.
And you also see Broxah will be starting on his own blue buff too, so that sets him up to path nicely up towards the top side of the map, going along with our expectations that yes, that is a lane you look to play around.
Got the Aftershock on the Sejuani as you would expect. Grasp for Camille for better trades. Bwipo going for the Conqueror, making sure he's maximum damage here on the Aatrox. Glacial Augment for Veigar. And Bjergsen with the Electrocute on the Azir, not seeing something like the lethal tempo, playing into what you were talking about, Kobe. Azir being more of this bursty style champion.
Definitely should be the case. Let's see. He goes down for a really early ward through the jungle, through the river here too, trying to ward the bottom half of the map so they can see if Elise makes that early move up to him. Because Azir wanting to try and push that Veigar in, make it more difficult for the Veigar to farm AP.
And speaking of that Veigar and the Glacial Augment in particular, the tech here is actually to try and enable him to initiate later in the game, because you look at Fnatic's team comp, there's not a whole lot of tools they have to work with. Yes, you have this cage from the Veigar, but it's relatively unreliable to hit unless you're pretty close range. But if you get items like the Hextech GLP along with that extra massive slow field, it makes it a lot easier to lock targets down from range.
Zven and Smoothie being forced back early on here, the bottom lane by Rekkles and Hylissang as Broxah will farm up towards that top side of the map as we were already anticipating here with the Elise. Full clearing to the bottom side of his jungle. You can see Grig also going forward and doing a full clear on his starting side, then pathing towards the bottom lane. Bwipo shoved up underneath his turret here in the top side by Broken Blade's Camille, getting some aggressive trades. As Broken Blade will get himself out of the way of the third Q, but it also means the escape mechanism is not available. Broxah's coming around here. Broken Blade has to expect something is up as Broxah moves around there through the minion wave. Broken Blade still trying to walk away. 2 seconds on the hook shot, 1 second. Oh, he even hits him with the emotes. You gotta love to see it.
That's a ring around the rosy. And top laners like to get that little laugh like that when the jungler comes for a gank, hoping that dissuades them from repeat ganks, because it's going to be one of the most tilting things as the wave is right in front of Bwipo's tower. And Broken Blade's going to take a long walk back.
Yeah, he can't TP back because there's always the threat of that return gank. And Grig, of course, on that bottom side of the map has no jungle camps to try and steal away because Broxah cleared those out early. But he might look for a gank here on Nemesis. He only has a flash running the TP instead of a defensive summon.
Hard to make these things work when Nemesis can drop the cage, but they will get the flash out of the enemy mid laner, which is ever so important. Bjergsen should be able to hit level 6 before that flash comes back up, so we could see a return gank here soon.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge too, because it's not a cleanse for Nemesis, which you almost always see against the Sejuani. So come level 6, Fnatic are gonna have to play super carefully around mid lane and put down vision, otherwise Nemesis is just an insta-kill.
Bottom side, Smoothie and Zven have found their way out from underneath the turret. They'll be shoving Rekkles and Hilly back into their own structures here. You can see the CS difference favoring Smoothie and Zven for now, but that's a lot of minions there for Rekkles to farm up and catch back up here. But this is what I was talking about, wanting to see something that's not Sona plus X up against Sivir yuumi. You can see they're not conceding the entire lane. They're not stuck underneath the turret, giving away a lot of plate money. It's very even here early on in bottom side.
Yeah, and the early itemization from Zven too is very much about staying in lane for a long time. Of course, Vampiric Scepter picked up and the Fairy Charm on top of it too, to make sure he's always going to be topped off on mana, and in the event that he runs a little bit low, he's holding onto the teleport.
Ooh, that was slick from Broken Blade. Almost looked like he was going to get pulled by the chain into the third Q sweet spot, but instantly hook shots out, finds the stun back, and gets some damage to win the trade.
That's why we highlighted, needs some mobility up there against Aatrox. Broken Blade putting it to very good use there, avoiding the sweet spot. And Camille likes these short trades, using the passive shield and getting in there with the empowered Qs. Meanwhile, mid lane, you have to keep your eyes on Nemesis. No summoner spells left. He had to use a teleport to get back to lane after blowing the flash. So TSM should expect to keep up pressure around that mid lane. You would think that Grig would want to continue to make looks towards Nemesis.
Also, Bjergsen is going to hit level 6 on this minion wave, and he used an extra ranged minion on the Fnatic side to allow it to push in towards him. He's hugged the minion wave here, looking for that move on towards Nemesis if he can get Grig to help him out.
You can see Grig knows exactly what's going on. Level 5 on this Sejuani. Ward from Fnatic is going to spot him out. He paths like he's going in towards the chicken camp, but then sets up to maybe make the gank happen anyway. Bjergsen with a flash still available too to initiate this. Broxah is here. It will be a 2 versus 2. Bjergsen goes ahead, throws Nemesis back, but now Bjergsen's going to be taken very low. He's stuck in the cage. He can't step on the side. Having to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, but first blood still over to Fnatic. As Broxah will not be taken down, repels up, comes down, walks away.
Grig does not switch over to the sweeper early on with the Sejuani, so he walks over this ward unknowingly right into a counter gank. And Nemesis, when he gets level 6 on the Veigar, they have the extra damage to finish off that kill, and it is a Fnatic first blood.
Oh yeah, it's just so nicely done there too. Vision on the top side of the river, double control ward so that Broxah could be there to counter gank. So many teams would look at that play, say, Nemesis doesn't have flash, we must back up, but instead Fnatic attacked, and now they've collapsed on Grig.
Grig finds himself walking into enemy territory to place down a ward. He will not be punished with a death just yet.
Hello.
Slides over the wall with the Arctic Assault. Bwipo not in a spot to stop that one. But yeah, you're gonna likely see that sweeper here soon, as otherwise plays will keep going like this.
Yeah, not taking early sweepers does have you walk into a lot of traps sometimes. Bjergsen, the receiving end of that. Plus, not only did they get the kill, but the flash was also used by Bjergsen to try and get back towards his teammate and pull that one out. So this is a huge swing for Fnatic.
Yeah, the cleanse too. So if Bjergsen is ever pushing in this mid lane, he better be careful, especially because the control ward vision for Fnatic in that bot river is absolutely absurd. It is just lining that entire place, which gives them gank windows to both top lane or mid lane and bottom lane. It allows Rekkles to push up down here alongside the yuumi, so they absolutely control this area of the map.
It's actually kind of crazy that, wasn't that earlier in the day in the first game for TSM where they walked over that exact ward on the invade and it cost Grig his death? This time around, Broxah is going to make the repeat gank here. He's going to steal away the Raptors because the tables have been completely turned around this mid lane. Thankfully for TSM, their winning part of the map is Broken Blade. Pretty much Broken Blade by himself in this matchup versus Aatrox has been able to earn a nice advantage over Bwipo. Here they actually go for another trade.
Broken Blade going in, misses his initial hook shot stun, but still gets the better of the trade thanks to getting the shield that protects him against his opponent's main damage type. Bottom side going to be breaking out into a 2v2. Smoothie taken very low. Grig's going to show up to the fight first. Hilly taken almost down, but that will not do it. yuumi attaches to Rekkles. He's going to be kept safe. TSM are down 0-1 in this fight. More damage goes through. Broxah's below half, but that doesn't matter. Fnatic outplayed.
It was Broxah and Nemesis both moving down towards that that bottom lane, and then TSM throw everything at this yuumi. Hylissang survives with just a sliver of HP. There's not much you can do about that.
Yeah, you can tell Hylissang knows what he's doing. Broken Blade goes back in for another trade here onto Bwipo, but yeah, that's one of the most annoying things about yuumi. Let's see if this roam actually results in anything. Control ward is in that tri-brush anyway, so Bjergsen just comes back down and lays his own ward.
Bjergsen is sitting down, some more vision there. Let's take another look at the play, bottom side.
So we see this one more time. Rekkles and Hilly want to initiate now and try to burn some summoner spells. And Hylissang ends up tanking everything, but Smoothie isn't dealing any damage. He got taken down low, so he backs up. That maybe costs them the kill on towards that yuumi, and then Zven has nowhere to go.
And again, this is a roam where it was all about Broxah's vision control. Top side, he's going though.
Broken Blade low on mana here, has to respect this gank. Broxah trying to grab the cocoon. He tried to predict the flash, but the prediction is incorrect, and Broken Blade gets out alive.
Broxah still gets the flash in the end, so a successful gank all around. They're also going to push this wave up into the tower. There's no TP on Broken Blade 2, so it will try to even up the CS in this top lane, which was going so poorly for Bwipo.
Yeah, that was a necessary flash from Broken Blade because he knew Bwipo has flash too, and they would follow that up for the kill with both Broxah and Bwipo flashing. So definitely very, very close one, and he narrowly avoids giving up that kill. Broxah relieving some of that pressure on the top side.
And this is what we expected to see from this guy. This is the main jungler for Fnatic, doing what he's known to do, helping those lanes get ahead early. We already saw the success of the counter ganks in bottom lane, in mid lane, and now just alleviating some of that pressure that Broken Blade is constantly applying to Bwipo is him checking all the boxes, top, mid, bottom. He's making sure he's involved.
Yeah, still trying to make a play around mid lane before that flash comes back up as well. No cleanse to be blown here from Bjergsen, but he goes in.
Bjergsen looking to shuffle that enemy mid laner backwards. The bullet does not hit. A critical miss from Grig could be disastrous. He will not stop. He gets the stun. He gets the kill. But now he's got to deal with Broxah. He turns around. He stuns him up, and he walks away.
Yeah, Broxah gonna flash away after that one. You cannot stand toe-to-toe with the Sejuani here. Meanwhile, with junglers showing mid, Broken Blade establishing control over the tri-brush here.
Broken Blade not afraid. Grig making his way up into the top side here as Broken Blade decides to issue the Hextech ultimatum to keep his opponent still. Grig cannot get to the fight in time. There was no ult available. It was used in the mid lane, and Bwipo can walk away.
Bwipo still relatively low here, but he knows Grig took a big trade mid too, so going to be safe here clearing out this minion wave. Nemesis also teleported back into that mid lane to try to get that push going, and maybe Fnatic can make a play towards this Cloud Drake.
Importantly now as well, Nemesis is the one without the flash here in the mid lane. Bjergsen with both summoner spells ready to go. That has been turned on its head a little bit here. Let's take another look at the mid lane play.
All right, so they started off with the stun. Bjergsen goes in for the sweep once again. Missed there by Grig through the ultimate, but because he's got red buff, Sejuani able to flash in, get the passive stun, and it's enough for him to clean up the extra kill even after Bjergsen died.
Yeah, Grig also picked up the Aftershock buff as well at the end of that trade, so Broxah couldn't even trade back against him. Still though, Fnatic have control down this bottom side. That's now 2 turret plates on towards Rekkles, which is going to put him about 600 gold up over Zven.
And while you like normally seeing the gold go onto the carries like Bjergsen, I don't mind seeing gold go on to the one tank in the game in Grig's Sejuani. This is a guy who, if he gets tanky enough, yeah, I don't care if I get poked by boomerangs or Veigar spells or anything really. Once he gets to the Warmog's point, it becomes a different game, and TSM can play more aggressively because of it. Grig gonna face check that brush here. Broxah finds him with a cocoon. Grig's able to find the stun into more damage going through. Repel keeps the enemy jungler alive, and now Grig is taken down. Fnatic collapsed with 4.
Big turn there from Fnatic, punishing Grig right there. Trading the top lane, Broken Blade.
Top side, Broken Blade is broken in half, and Bwipo wins the 1v1.
I believe Bwipo also canceled the TP of Broken Blade in that trade. That's why the 1v1 started up between these two in the top lane. What was going so poorly for him for so long is now a winning matchup.
Oh, bottom side, Smoothie gets a binding and a combo onto Hylissang, but the whole reason TSM thought they had the advantage in that river play was because Smoothie had roamed up with Grig, so they thought that they had the numbers advantage. Teleport came through from Rekkles, though, with Hylissang attached to him, so you get 2 members joining. Let's see if this roam from Bjergsen turns into anything.
Bjergsen knows that Bwipo has no way out. out of this one. He goes in, he spends the flash, he grabs his kill, trying to keep TSM in this game. Here's another look top.
Oh, broken play. That teleport was just way too greedy, way too far forward.
That is disrespectful.
Yeah, Bwipo just instantly pops the ultimate here, and what can Broken Blade really do? He's already used all his cooldowns. Aatrox gets such a big buff when he does pop that ultimate, so the 1v1 goes wildly in his favor.
And now Fnatic are looking to invest multiple members in bottom side potentially yet again. Smoothie and Zven underneath the turret continuously, as Rekkles and Hylissang will always keep that push going. Broken Blade here in the mid lane. Nemesis trying to make himself look like he could be jumped on. Hey, buddy, don't you want to hook shot me? Definitely don't have somebody waiting in the wings here, as Grig will take down Shelly on the top side, and TSM go for the turret.
As Fnatic hear the Herald go down, though, they move 4 members towards the bottom side, so it's a complete split on the map, and the turret plates have gone down, so the wave clear attempt from Smoothie is not enough.
And this time, the communication with TSM, they tell Zven and Smoothie, this is the weak side of the map, you have to give it up. We are making the power play on top side with Riftfield, and it will be the turret trade.
I really like the decision from Fnatic to instantly go for the bottom lane turret, though. The two things that you normally want Shelly for are either plate money pre-14 minutes or to get the first turret bonus. It's past 14 minutes. Fnatic got first turret bonus. That's 2 strikes. Shelly's out.
Not the best use of the Herald right there, but still good enough to trade. Good enough to trade in the towers there. And right now it seems like they had Camille in this mid lane for quite a while on Broken Blade. They are going to be sending her up back towards the top lane. And now that Bwipo doesn't have a tower to fall back to defend himself on, he's also missing that flash. Looks like Grig wants to walk up here and use the control word for a gank.
Broken Blade going in onto Bwipo, not finding the stun, but has the Hextech ultimatum ready to go. Bwipo wants to step away from some of the CC coming out from Grig, but he'll chain it together pretty nicely. Bwipo trying to dodge and dive away from this. The counterattack but Bwipo makes it a 1-for-1. He'll go down, but damn if he didn't play it well.
Fnatic and Bwipo dunking on the 1v2 right there. The rest of the team is pushing in this middle lane as well. So a big power move across the map because the 2v1 did not work out.
And that allows Fnatic in the mid lane to lay on the pressure here on TSM. They retreat, lay down a bunch of wards through this red quadrant of the jungle. And with the extra speed here from yuumi, they establish control.
Checking in on the passive stacks from Nemesis, he's at over 140 farming on the Primordial Burst, or whatever the name of the passive is. That is the equivalent of 3 Blasting Wands and an Amplifying Tome worth of AP. That's 3,000 gold worth of offensive extra stats from farming well for 16 minutes. This guy is online.
That is a lot of money right there for the Veigar. Now, watch this 1v2 one more time because Bwipo is a level 11, higher than both of these two members, and he turns, once he sees Grig, he goes immediately onto him, and he gets all this sustained from the ultimate, but Broxah, in a little bit of trouble, should get out.
You can see Smoothie's health bar was taken down about 3/4 of the way. Broxah found him in the jungle, could not secure the kill, and now has to spend his own flash getting away. TSM still holding onto their turrets rather well, despite the fact that Fnatic is up an impressive 3,000 gold 16 minutes in. They still haven't been able to crack too many turrets here on the side of TSM, who will continue farming up. Bjergsen with the Luden's Echo, plus the Morello Nomicon baby version in the Oblivion Orb, still looking to get those Sork Shoes for the extra impen to have the burst in the fights. Blade of the Ruined King done for the Lucian. Top side, still no completed item on Broken Blade because he's fallen behind after the initial strong laning phase.
Check this out, bottom lane. Nemesis and Hylissang are both here. They want Bjergsen.
They do not find the stun, though, because it's not placed quite accurate enough. Bjergsen can slide away.
Yeah, and seeing those two bottom, they've got Broken Blade pushing on the top side. We'll be able to rotate to join the rest of the team. TSM have an opening here, with the extra minion wave pushed out, and they're heading down the control ward.
See if TSM can find this counterattack here. Bjergsen will lose about half HP to the basic combo from Nemesis. Didn't want to commit the ulti there. Wouldn't have been quite enough damage. Broxah will hang around in the wings there in that brush to make sure that these guys don't get collapsed on. And yuumi will continue just healing Nemesis up over time.
It is really interesting, though, how Fnatic are choosing to play the map right now. Because they know with the Essence Reaver, Rekkles can just sit mid lane by himself. He doesn't really need the yuumi there with him. He can just clear these minion waves, while Hylissang then teams up with a Nemesis or a Bwipo perhaps to try and find a 2v1 in a side.
That is why these control wards are so important for TSM, to allow them to travel between mid and bottom lane right now. We just saw Grig and Smoothie hovering to react to either side.
Nemesis is walking up, trying to find a cage onto Zven, who dashes out of the way in time. Nemesis stepping forward, Grig goes in, and he finds the ulti onto the enemy mid laner. Nemesis has to flash out. TSM now with their tank on the front line, gonna be soaking that damage. Nemesis still half HP, fires off another cage, and Fnatic will not lose anyone.
Fnatic are clearing the minion wave though. Oh, Bjergsen trying for Broxah, not able to find it right there with the ultimate, but he will force Fnatic away from the tower.
And they get some key summoner spells here. Nobody on TSM using any of those. Nemesis does flash there on the Veigar, will be a much more vulnerable target. Top side though, Rekkles is headed up there with yuumi on his back, and Broken Blade will have to concede the turret.
Broken Blade knows that this is not where he wants to be. 4,500 gold lead now for Fnatic. TSM will grab the second Drake of the game, even though count up in 1-to-1 on Cloud Drakes. But things are looking good for Fnatic here in the mid game. Early on was a little bit shaky, but since then, they're the ones finding the outplays. They're the ones that are always first at the scene of the crime, setting things up and playing this game on their terms.
Yeah, especially now Nemesis has the Spooky Ghost as well as the Hextech GLP, so he can pop those down and allow Fnatic to walk up and knock out this tower. It also means that the primary engage options for Fnatic are now online, and they can look to use the extra priority they gain by knocking down that middle tower to find picks around the map.
This is where farming for TSM starts to get fairly dangerous. They don't have defenses to actually work around anymore, pushing out these minion waves. So it is up to Fnatic. They have so many more answers with, you know, the yuumi on top of either Broxah or Rekkles Sivir speed even, trying to cut off members of TSM. You see all these wards on the bottom half for TSM allow them to get up to that turret, but they have to immediately retreat as soon as they see Fnatic members.
Yeah, the best thing for TSM to do is to control specific pockets. That's why I like those 3 control wards all next to each other, because if you have the Sejuani or the Azir nearby, you can immediately use that vision denial to jump on a member of Fnatic that is trying to lay down vision inside of that river. But for now that we've passed the 20-minute mark, Fnatic's eyes are going to be set on the top half of the map near the Baron.
Fnatic still in control of this game, feeling so good about how things have gone so far. Remember, you beat TSM here. It doesn't even go to a game 5.
Oh, here we go.
Ben's gonna find himself jumped on. Smoothie throws out the shield there, making sure his AD carry stays safe. Broken Blade jumping away with the hook shot, finds his way onto Bwipo, but it's only Broken Blade and Grig here. Not enough damage to take down that enemy top laner. Bjergsen shows up. Grig's gonna find himself rooted, flashing out of the way of the cage. Good job there, would have been dead. Bwipo has the yuumi attached, getting himself away now. World Ender is down. Fnatic will not continue the fight.
Yeah, Fnatic are in the closest proximity to mid lane though, so Rekkles comes back here and pushes out this minion wave. Now they can move up, get the Scuttle Crab, and control on Baron.
That was huge for Fnatic. They get 2 flashes out of that. Both frontliners on TSM are forced out of the river. Now with no flash on Broken Blade or Grig, the options definitely limited.
See how Fnatic continues to play this one. They felt like they're the ones making the decisions the entirety of the game here so far. TSM trying to react. Their reactions have been on point recently. Ben's been doing a good job disengaging when Fnatic tried to find him with those spooky ghosts in those cages. Grig kept himself alive with a flash there in that last fight, but you gotta wonder, as time keeps going on, as this Veigar continues farming up, how much longer can you pull that off?
Zven should be fine as long as he continues to hold his dash on Lucian until he sees Nemesis cast the cage. You'll be able to dash every single time quicker than the cage can actually form. Unless Sivir speed boost has the Veigar coming out of your brush behind you or something, then he should be able to remain safe.
Yeah, you also have to worry about the double slows, so I like what I'm seeing. Zven is either going for a Hex Drinker or a QSS. I think QSS is
boy, here it comes. Prowling projectile onto Smoothie. They're saying, all right, Zven can dash out of it. Let's go for the guy who can't. Smoothie will be forced to pop the summoner spell there. Flash used. Bjergsen throws out a soldier. But again, Fnatic will not find the initiation, rewarded with a flash, but nothing else.
Right, because Fnatic have all these softer initiation tools, they're always going to be searching to bait out these flashes. Then once they see a target that has lost it, that's when they go for the full-on fight. That's when they know they can find that first pick with the Veigar that wins them the 5v4 immediately.
Mid lane turret under siege here. TSM making a proactive choice of their own, but it will not get them too far. Rekkles can wave clear pretty effectively here. Bwipo going into the front line. They're going to find the chains, and there's your reset. Smoothie is gone. Bwipo's going crazy. He goes into the resurrection. TSM barely walking themselves away. Broken Blade in the back. Bwipo's able to find a double. Nemesis swoops in. Broken Blade gets a shutdown onto Rekkles, but now he'll surely fall. The CC is there. The damage will follow. And it is a 1-for-3. Fnatic take that fight.
And they will take Baron right after. They sweep TSM off of the map. straight down mid lane, assassinating Smoothie there. As soon as they get that reset, Bwipo's able to flash into the back line, and that means a victory in the team fight. A victory here over Baron, and Fnatic will get a reset.
Bwipo going hard in that team fight. So good out of him. Nemesis even late to join that fight, but Fnatic felt so
They're waiting for the
confident.
respawn?
They
One
want
more second
Rekkles
for
to have it.
Rekkles?
Why not?
Yeah, there you go. Now you've got that nice purple buff on everybody on the team. Let's take another look here at the engage.
Let's see this one more time because it's Fnatic that just go in. Bwipo says, I'm going to make this play happen. They get the first kill on Smoothie, who they just burned Splash on. Now Bjergsen, no flash of his own, so he must back away. Broken Blade tries to make a play for himself in the backline, but his 1v4 is just a 1-for-1, while Bwipo's 1v3, he gets 2.
Yeah, I mean, he does assassinate Rekkles there, but the fight was already lost because everyone else on TSM chased back by Bwipo with multiple casualties, and now Fnatic with the Baron buff can push right down mid.
What a stark contrast between the performances of these top laners this game. It looked like it was all Broken Blade early laning, but then everything after the botched teleport, the disrespect that Bwipo interrupted and then took control, he has just not stopped. You give the man an inch, he's taking a mile.
Absolutely, and now he's at this point where the yuumi can just hop on top of him. He is a massive front line for this team, now building up both armor and match resist. Fnatic is just gonna walk to the tower.
Here we go, Fnatic looking to break the base by force. TSM will not hold on to the tier 3 turret. Smoothie again the target, not pulled back by the chain. Grig's ultis are just not there. Bjergsen has to flash away. Bwipo's still gonna be tanking on the front line, goes into resurrection. Nemesis and the rest of Fnatic trying to buy time for him to escape. They'll turn around, they'll kill Broken Blade, and Fnatic are on to the Nexus. They look to end it here. TSM have nothing to say. Bjergsen will fall, and Fnatic's push continues without losing a single man. Nexus turret number 1 down, Nexus turret number 2 down, and Fnatic will secure the Rift Rivals win for Europe.
When G2 could not stand their ground, it was Fnatic that said definitively, EU is greater than NA.
What a win for these guys. TSM, they had a strong early game, but once Fnatic started putting on the pressure in the mid game, TSM had no response.
Huge, huge play there. Broxah on the Elise. Even though he only got 1 kill at the end of the game, able to set up the team with the assist. And bottom lane, the Sivir yuumi once again, just so powerful for Rekkles and Hylissang.
And we're not talking about the elephant in the room. EU came in with spicy picks in this tournament, and they go out with a Veigar in the mid lane too. 4-1 and 5 there for Nemesis. So crucial in setting up these mid-game plays with that Glacial Augment tech to run people down.
A lot of these, again, the 2v2s in mid lane. Fnatic getting the better of it.
Fnatic getting the better of the 2v2s, always popping those flashes, like you explained, to enable the soft engage to actually find an initiation for this team. And once that initiation was there, knock knock, who's there? It's Bwipo, charging down the TSM front lines, running everyone over.
Bwipo was an absolute monster there with the flashes in towards the back line. It gives you flashbacks to some other pretty beastly Aatrox performances. Definitely top-tier gameplay coming out of him.
It was a little bit concerning there after the last game for the EU fans, looking like it might be able to go the distance. NA wanting to save Team Liquid for the Game 5, putting the faith in TSM, who just could not compete with the likes of Fnatic here. This is what happened. We were talking about when TSM won against Fnatic yesterday, excuse me. They beat Dan. Well, now Dan's big brother's coming in, and you got to deal with him instead. Uh-oh. Not where you want to be.
Yeah, Broxah's here. Broxah smash. Another victory there for Fnatic. And Bwipo actually ending with a giant bounty on his head as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as soon as they make that fight in mid lane, they pop Smoothie. Just the entire team fight goes heavily in Fnatic's favor as they're able to run straight down. And once you get the Baron, nice victory.
Yeah, Fnatic prove once again they are masters when it comes to closing out with leads. This team does so well early on. It wasn't the biggest lead against TSM in this match. TSM fought them tooth and nail early for it, but once they had that fight, they got the Baron, and it was lights out.
And I talked about how, yeah, you had the one tank in the game on the Sejuani for the side of TSM, but when you fall behind to the degree that they did, Grig's not tanky enough. Veigar is just going to blow you up. Aatrox will blow you up. Sivir, what's that? She's going to blow you up. There's some problems.
Yeah, Bwipo just ignored the front line. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to flash straight past her and get those kills.
I mean, the most impressive part about that final fight that set up the Baron for them was actually we're talking about how little of this easy, hard engage Fnatic has. They use the speed buff to actually just annihilate one player. They don't lock anyone down with CC. They just 100% to 0 Smoothie with the Sivir and the Yuumi from the back line, and that is how they win the team fight.
You can see now all the European teams, all the European players taking to the stage, ready to hoist the Rift Rivals trophy that they have earned. They won everything except the show match, my friend. Kobe showed up there. Happy birthday, Kobe. As EU takes their trophy, hoists it high, and they have bested NA on this day. They won the group stage, they won the 2v2 best bot lane tournament, and today, in a 3-1 final score, they won the relay race. And now they're trying to decide who the trophy goes to next.
I guess we'll put it down. We're tired of it.
Maybe it's heavy. I've never lifted it myself. I'm not quite sure. There we go. The 3-team lift at the same time.
Supports!
Supports are the true carries, people.
Maybe that's why they had a triple lift. We only had a double lift.
All right, we're gonna
Who
go.
let Freak on the desk?
I figured it out.
Roll by roll here.
Everybody taking their turn, lifting the trophy. Combined team effort from everybody on the side of EU.
Wait, but Cap's a mid laner.
All right, it's a little bit.
Everybody on G2 can play every lane though, so
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Follow the logic.
I don't know. I've seen Caps play some Akali top lane. It did not go that well.
All right, well, as the players decide who is going to be lifting the trophy next, that is all from us here at the desk today. It was a fantastic series to watch, but we're going to go ahead and send things back to the analysts to help wrap out the series.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and congrats.